The San Francisco 49ers are less than 3 minutes away from something no team in NFL history has ever done. 3 straight Super Bowls. Their legendary quarterback is already gone, knocked out of the game by a hit so violent it made highlight reels for 30 years. So the plan is simple: hand the ball to the most reliable running back of his generation and kill the clock. The man carrying it has spent 8 years proving he doesn't make mistakes. First player to ever score 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl. First player in history to rush and catch for 1,000 yards in the same season. 3 rings. The engine of a dynasty. With 2:36 on the clock, it's over. After the game, in the loser's locker room, he tells reporters, "I've had a lot of highs and lows, but this is the lowest ever. This is like a nightmare for a running back. I let them down." 13 days later, the 49ers cut him. He'd play 3 more seasons and make the playoffs in every one. 11 years in the NFL, 11 playoff runs. No one had ever done that. So the question isn't whether Roger Craig belonged in the Hall of Fame. The question is why it took 28 years. 27 times Canton said no. This is the story of why. And the answer is not what you think. To understand how strange this story is, you have to start in Davenport, Iowa. Roger Craig is born in July of 1960, one of 8 children. His father is a mechanic. His mother operates machines in a factory and works so late that getting 8 kids to school falls to her before sunrise. His idol is his older brother Curtis, a star running back at Davenport Central. Roger watches him and decides what he's going to be. By his senior year, Roger is an All-American, 1,500 yards, 27 touchdowns. In his final high school game, he runs for 353 yards and 4 scores. And then he goes to Nebraska, where something strange happens. The future greatest receiving back in NFL history catches 16 passes. Not in a season, in his entire college career. Nebraska turns him into a blocker. The NFL drafts him in the 2nd round as a fullback. Nothing about his college career predicts what's coming, and here's how invisible he was. As a junior at Nebraska, Craig led the team in rushing, 1,060 yards. His reward? The Huskers handed the backfield to a young phenom named Mike Rozier, a future Heisman winner, and moved Craig to blocking fullback. So by draft day 1983, the scouting report on Roger Craig read like a warning label. He runs too upright. He got demoted in college. And the biggest knock of all, the one that will haunt this story, he fumbles too much. 5 running backs went off the board ahead of him. And when San Francisco, desperate, coming off a 3-6 season, spent a 2nd-round pick on him anyway, the local press mocked it. One paper complained the 49ers didn't even get the short yardage bruiser they actually needed. But one man sees it. Bill Walsh doesn't look at what Roger Craig was asked to do. He looks at what Roger Craig could do. On draft day, Walsh compared his new pick to Franco Harris and said out loud that this blocker, this fullback with 16 career catches, was going to be a weapon in the passing game. People thought it was strange. Craig's response? The story goes, he started catching 100 passes a day. And in his rookie year in Walsh's offense, the blocker from Nebraska scores 12 touchdowns, 8 on the ground, 4 through the air. Year 2. The 49ers go 15-1 and reach the Super Bowl against Dan Marino's Dolphins. And in the biggest game of his life, the 24-year-old does something no player, not Jim Brown, not Franco Harris, not anyone, had ever done. 3 touchdowns. In a Super Bowl. First man in history. Look at that stride. The high knees. Announcers will spend a decade trying to describe it. Defenders will spend a decade eating it. And he's just getting started. Because in 1985, Roger Craig does something so far ahead of its time that the league doesn't even have a category for it. 1,050 yards rushing. 1,016 yards receiving. The first 1,000 and 1,000 season in NFL history. His 92 catches don't just lead all running backs. They lead the entire NFL. Every receiver, everyone. In the 40 years since, only 2 players have ever matched it. Marshall Faulk, Christian McCaffrey. That's the list. And here's your first clue about how this story ends. That season, the most revolutionary season a running back had ever played, Roger Craig wasn't named Offensive Player of the Year. He wasn't even first-team All-Pro. Remember that. It matters later. In 1988, he peaks. A career-high 1,502 yards rushing, over 2,000 from scrimmage. most in the league, Offensive Player of the Year, unanimous All-Pro, and another ring. By decade's end, he has 3 championships and a spot on the All-Decade team. That's the resume. Now hold it in your mind while I tell you what the Hall of Fame did with it. 5 years after his final season, Roger Craig's name appears on a Hall of Fame ballot for the first time. No, for the next quarter century, 12 running backs go into Canton ahead of him. Until 2026, he is the only running back from any all-decade team of the 70s, 80s, or 90s not in the Hall of Fame. 27 classes come and go. 27 times, no. Why? There are 4 theories. Let's take them one at a time, because the truth is hiding inside the wreckage of the wrong answers. Theory 1 is the one you've already heard, the one whispered in Bay Area sports bars for 35 years. The fumble did it. And on the surface, it fits. The last image of Roger Craig in a 49ers uniform is a football on the grass at Candlestick. The dynasty dies that day. 13 days later, he's released. It has the shape of a Greek tragedy, the perfect player, undone by a single imperfection, punished forever. Even his opponents believe it's out there. Jim Burt, the Giants' nose tackle from those wars, went on record saying it would be wrong if voters held that fumble against him. But here's the problem with Theory 1. To be rejected in the final room, you have to be in the final room. And in his entire 20-year window as a modern-era candidate, Roger Craig made the final round of Hall of Fame voting exactly once. 2010. You can't be blackballed by a debate that never happened. Most years, his case never even reached the table. No voter, anywhere, has ever gone on record blaming the fumble. So why do we all believe it? Because our brains prefer a villain to a spreadsheet. One dramatic moment feels truer than 1,000 boring ballots. The fumble isn't the answer. The real answer is worse. Theory 2, he played with gods. When your quarterback is Joe Montana and your receiver is Jerry Rice, there's only so much sunlight left. And the timing was brutal in another way. Craig's era might be the most stacked running back generation ever. Peyton, Dickerson, Dorsett, Marcus Allen, and right behind them, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Thurman Thomas. A traffic jam of legends, all holding a ticket to Canton, all ahead of him in line. Verdict: real, but not the answer. Plenty of players escape great teammates' shadows. This was pressure. It wasn't the wall. Because here's what the shadow theory can't explain. Inside that locker room, among the gods themselves, everyone knew exactly who Roger Craig was. In 1985, Craig invites a struggling rookie receiver to a park in Redwood City for a morning run. 2.5 miles, uphill. The rookie can't finish it. The rookie's name is Jerry Rice. Rice comes back to that hill for the rest of his career and credits it as the foundation of the greatest work ethic football has ever seen. In his own words, starting that next offseason, we began training together. It was legendary. Those workouts were brutal. The first thing we did was we ran that hill. Teammates said Craig was the one who ran every practice touch to the end zone. And Jerry saw it and copied it, and then the whole roster did. The most famous work ethic in NFL history was an inheritance from Roger Craig. The man wasn't in anyone's shadow. He was the sun. Theory 3. And now we're getting close. When voters of that era judged a running back, they looked at one number: rushing yards. And by that one number, Roger Craig is 46th all time. 46 doesn't get you a bronze bust. Case closed, right? Except look what happens when you measure his whole job, rushing and receiving, over 13,000 yards from scrimmage, a league-leading season by total offense in '88, the first 1,000 and 1,000 year ever. The insiders who watched the process up close said it plainly. His numbers simply didn't jump out at voters. Of course they didn't. He was playing a position that didn't exist yet, being graded on a form printed in 1975. The voters didn't reject Roger Craig. They never saw him, and being invisible is so much worse than being blamed. Which leaves one final question. By the 2000s, the league itself had changed. Falk went 1,000 and 1,000 in '99. Offenses everywhere were building around backs who catch. Roger Craig had been proven right. So why did it still take 2 more decades? Because by then, he'd aged out of the regular ballot into the seniors category, a waiting room where for years only one candidate per year could get through, a line of forgotten legends, decades deep, moving one man at a time. And in 2026, his 28th year of waiting, the process jammed him into a combined pool against, of all people, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. To get his gold jacket, the running back from the 80s had to beat the greatest coach of all time in a vote. 4 theories: a myth, a shadow, a broken ruler, a broken machine. Put the last 3 together and you finally have the answer to 28 years. Now let me show you what the answer looks like when it knocks on your door. Watch any NFL game today and you're watching Roger Craig's blueprint. In 2019, Christian McCaffrey became just the 3rd man to go 1,000 and 1,000. The position Craig invented in 1985 is now just what a running back is. Football didn't change its mind about Roger Craig. Football turned into Roger Craig. And the man himself, he never stopped running. That's not a metaphor. After football, Roger Craig became a distance runner, dozens of marathons and half marathons. And that same hill in Redwood City, the one where he broke in a rookie named Jerry Rice, he kept coming back to for years, so many times, he could run it from memory. 35 years of waiting, and he kept climbing the hill. February 2026, the announcement comes at NFL Honors, held as if the universe finally decided to apologize in San Francisco, the city where he built everything. But the moment that matters doesn't happen on a stage. It happens at a front door, where 2 Hall of Famers, 2 men who bled next to him, come to deliver the news themselves. Ronnie Lott, Charles Haley, and a 65-year-old man who waited 28 years to hear one word. "These guys help me out all the time," he said, "being in the Hall of Fame with them. I'm so amazed." On August 8th in Canton, Ohio, Roger Craig puts on a gold jacket enshrined alongside Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Adam Vinatieri. They got in on their first and second tries. He waited 28 years for the same jacket. And here's the thing about Roger Craig, that 27 rejections never touched. The Hall of Fame was never the proof. The proof was always right there, knees churning, ball held high, in every backfield in football, every Sunday, forever. They didn't finally see greatness. They finally caught up to it.